What is up, guys? Today is actually the same day we're doing the brake booster stuff, but I have a lot of time to kill right now. So I'm gonna move on to some of the engine stuff, and they're gonna be two separate videos, but same day. But anyway, we're gonna go through and finally refresh the M50. We got a lot of stuff to do on this thing, gaskets, motor mount arms, etc. So I already pulled off all the coolant lines. Now what I'm trying to start with doing is actually getting the motor mounts I need on there. So as I said before, you need the E36 arms. E34 doesn't work. So the E34 arm mounts there and the dipstick goes through it. E36 arms mount back here. That's what you need to fit in the E30 subframe. So I had to go pick up some E30 arms, put them in the back holes. The issue with this is that this hole right here had nothing ever threaded into it. So it is completely seized, not seized, but so rusty there's no threads. So I have to actually tap that. Lucky enough, I got myself a tap kit here. Actually a Christmas present from my uncle. So I'm gonna have to tap that hole. And then this side, similar. You gotta put the E36 arm on and you gotta move it back. This side, both the holes here are completely crusted, and there's a bit of an issue. The exhaust manifold is actually in the way of one of them. So really don't want to pull this exhaust manifold off because I don't have these gaskets and I don't want to ruin all this. So I don't know what we're gonna do here. Either we're gonna try to send one in, or we're gonna have to pull the manifold off. Not sure yet, but I think I'm gonna start off there, get the arms on, or at least get one arm on. If that side turns out to be a pain, then I'll do that side later. But then we're gonna move on, do the thermostat housing. I'm getting a metal housing from Eustace because I'm not using this plastic junk. Water pump we gotta do. We're gonna pull off the timing cover, do the timing cover gaskets, pull off the pan, do the oil pan gasket, do the oil pump nut, valve cover gasket, Vanos housing gaskets, oil dipstick gasket, knock sensors. We gotta put the M20 coolant temp sensor in here. One of these is the right one of them stays, one of them goes. Can't remember which. But yeah, so this should be fun, a lot to do. Right on. I'm super stoked about that. That was actually super easy. When I did the Turbo M50 and the E34, it was an E36 block and I didn't have a tap set, so I literally just sent these in and it didn't work good at all. But tap set coming in clutch there, so we have 4 working holes, so I can just throw on this mount. And another thing is the E34 mount is wide, so it came with long ones which don't work, so I went downstairs and grabbed my skinny ones. Even the oil pan dipstick carrier that also is the manifold holder bolts right in between this. Man, BMW was really looking out on this thing. So that's back bolted up, which is nice. And now we move on to the other side and pull this off and try to tap these, and yeah. And both the mounts are on. I got the engine ground on. I got that mount on. So we're all set here. Next up, I'm thinking we start at the top here, do the valve cover. That's really nice and easy. And then make our way down into some other things. We got all sorts of goodies here to choose from about where we're gonna start. A lot of stuff to replace on this thing. So yeah, I think we're gonna start off with this valve cover. Go ahead and do that and work our way down. Yeah, so the inside looks just like I thought it would. It's got a lot of, I don't even know what you'd call it, like staining from old age and old oil, but it looks really good otherwise in here. As you expect with a low mileage motor that's sat. So that's cool. You gotta get all the old grommets out of the valve cover and then RTV all around and then pop the new one on. Maybe you guys can hear this old valve cover gasket, how crusty. It literally cracks when it bends. It's so solid. So yeah, that thing was shot. This was actually leaking pretty bad on that motor. I looked at everything. Most of that motor was dry, but that valve cover gasket leaked pretty good, which is usually most common. So I'm just getting the grommets out of the valve cover. And then I'm actually gonna run to the store and get some brake cleaner and some degreaser, just so I can, I like to brake clean the mating surface before I put the sealant on, and then I also need to clean some stuff from the engine bay. And then I'm probably gonna get the oil for it and get all the stuff that I'm gonna need for the next couple days to finish all this, so I don't have to keep running back and forth to AutoZone. $120 later at AutoZone. I just decided to go ahead and get everything that I think I'll need to finish this off. I got the fuel line I almost forgot about, but the fuel line's cracking in there, and you need a bunch of soft line to get it to route under the manifold how I need it. I got coolant, I got all my degreaser and brake cleaner that I wanted, I got the oil I need, and then I got the ATF that I need. So that should take care of all the fluids that I'm gonna need. I'm gonna need new brake fluid because I took some out of the reservoir, but I believe I have that over there. Whatever, it's nice to have anything extra here because eventually I'll need it between all the freaking cars. I got my ultra black maximum oil resistant gasket maker here. I'm gonna do the whole thing. Usually I think it says you just have to do the half moons and the corners. I do the whole thing, never had issues. Then I got my Victor Rhines valve cover gasket here. We're gonna slap it on, slap on the, oh, and I just smacked my Touring with it, really nice. But actually I gotta clean these middle ones real quick, the spark plug wells. And then we're gonna slap on the valve cover, and then I'm calling it a night. I'm tired. Then tomorrow we're gonna hit the ground running. All right, we're back out here, and I got another box of goodies. So I got my throwout bearing, I got my shifter bushing, I got, I don't know, rear main of the trans, front main of the trans, and then I got my pilot, and then I got a new Guibo here. So I'm an idiot and ordered all this and then forgot that I had to buy all the trans outside. I had to buy the detent cover because that was leaking. I had to buy the pivot, whatever, and then one other thing I forgot. So I had to order those. Those won't be here till later, but it doesn't matter. That's all. That will all be in a later video when we do the trans stuff. So there's two temp sensors in the head on the M50. One is for ECU, one is for the cluster, and the one for the cluster is the back one, the black one, and you need to put in the E30 temp sensor in place of that. This is for the E30's cluster. It's brown, single pole, whereas this is double pole. So it is this one. Pull this one out. This threads right in, which is nice on the M50, S50. M52 and S52 have different thread pitches, which suck, so you gotta re-tap them and stuff. But this one is just gonna shove right in there, and that is easy peasy. You gotta love BMW for making that easy. And then all right here, this is the throttle body heater line, and since I will not be running that, I just took a bolt, which I think is actually a I think it's actually the flywheel bolt from another M50. But so I put that in there and I hose clamped that, so I just have this blocked off. Rather than threading this out and threading something in, I figured I'd leave it and just do that. That should work. Now we're gonna go ahead and replace these knock sensors. They're both cracked, as you can see. This one's actually totally falling apart. Typical knock sensor on an M50. So you guys can see I botched that. Didn't realize there'd still be coolant in there and spilled it all over the floor. So I took some buckets of water and flushed it out, so at least it's not sticky coolant. But you may have noticed there what I did was pulled the thermostat cover off and then took the small thermostat cover bolts, and you actually put those into these two middle spots on the water pump, and you tighten them in, and that's what actually pushes the water pump out, because usually they're pretty seized. So you thread those in and they push against the engine, obviously, and pops it right out. Didn't realize that the bolts that are used for that are the ones that are in the thermostat housing. That is super smart and actually pretty cool. Never did that before. Glad I knew that though. So now I'm just gonna clean up the surfaces for the gaskets and the O-rings, and then Eustace is bringing me a metal thermostat cover because this plastic is junk. Never use those if you don't have to. And then I got the new thermostat to put in. I got the new Hey Poo water pump. Got the gaskets, then that takes care of all the cooling system on the motor. And then I believe we are ready to spin this bad boy upside down, do the oil pan gasket, do the oil pump nut, and do the pickup tube gasket and the oil dipstick gasket. Sorry, I have a lot of stuff going on. My brain is fried. But other than that, then I'm gonna push the wagon out, get the M20 in here, get what I need off the M20, meaning the trans, and then I'll probably lower this into a tire to do the rear main and get it ready to accept the trans. And then I think my transmission stuff comes in tomorrow, the rest of it. And then I can do all the gaskets on the tranny, and then I can mount the tranny up, and then I think we're gonna throw this thing in. I'm gonna not reinstall all the front stuff because they say you can't run the harmonic balancer to install it. Don't see why, but I'll just leave it all off anyway because that shouldn't be too hard to get put on in the car. Then I'm gonna mount the alternator and the power steering pump on, probably also in the car. I should have enough room to do so, and that way I don't have to worry about clearance issues when installing, because that can be pretty annoying. Alright, so I wait for Eustace to bring me my thermostat cover, and then I'm gonna flip the motor with him. I went ahead and reinstalled my new soft fuel lines that I got to get rid of the old cracked ones. These were like destroyed. So I have really long ones here because I bought a bunch of excess. So whenever I mock them up how I'm gonna run them, I'll cut them. And then in the meantime, as well, I've been degreasing the engine bay. So I got some of the degreaser. So I've been kind of hitting all the tough, really grimy spots. Just trying to clean it up. And not that it's the most important thing. And you know, I'm not taking everything out of the bay, which makes it a lot harder to clean. But just to kind of make it look a little bit better. The rack already looks way better. So might as well. It'd be better if I had a hose to rinse away all the degreaser, but instead I'm choosing a spray bottle because it's too cold out for a hose. So just doing some minor cleaning here, and then we're gonna get back to the motor. Go. I don't like filming in front of people. So I finally got the metal thermostat housing on, and now we're just draining out anything that's left in the car before I pull the pan off, and then we're gonna twist this thing upside down and get to the fun stuff and see the crankcase on this car, or the bottom end. Alright, we got the oil pan off, exposing the main killer of all M5X motors, meaning M50, M52, S50, S52, S54, M54. All those inline sixes suffer from this. The oil pump nut can actually twist off, resulting in no oil pump, meaning no oil pressure, meaning you blow up your motor. So the common fix here is to get a threaded, or not a threaded, but an oil pump nut that actually has a drilled out for safety wire. So you thread this on, put the safety wire through it, and then you twist the safety wire through these convenient holes in the sprocket here. And that's so that even if it does break loose here, the safety wire will actually hold it to this so it won't go anywhere. So you won't lose your oil pressure. This is a huge issue on these things, and one of the only detrimental issues that these cars actually have. Otherwise, these are bulletproof motors. But inside here looks pretty good, as you'd expect. So I'm gonna have to clean up the surface here and show you guys how to throw this on, and then that's all we gotta take care of under here. Actually, S54s do not have this issue. I should have known that. I apologize. These are also actually reverse threaded, so you gotta go what would be tightening it, and I guess you gotta counter hold your motor as well. Good compression on this thing. Just get up in there. Okay, keep going.
Show me the new product.
Dude, you know where you're holding the freaking camera?
Yeah, I was. Who sells this?
I got this for Beamer World. Jesus.
Where's the nut? Oh,
right here.
Alright, show me the nut.
Alright.
It's got a...
So it's got 2 holes here. On my Turbo E34, I actually drilled it myself. So, surprised that motor's actually still together. You could also tack these, but people say don't tack them because then it weakens everything else. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not.
I've seen shafts break. When you tighten it, it's too much heat.
So how tight should I go?
Well, you gotta get a torque wrench.
Why?
I don't know.
And that feels pretty tight. Do people Loctite these? I guess I don't need it at this point. That is definitely tight. It actually says to use some red Loctite on there, so I took it off, I'm gonna put that on there to be extra safe. I'm gonna start it. Damn, this is...
Yes, that's special pliers. And these are not special.
Those pliers. Get a little more of a front angle here. Dude, I don't remember this being like this on the Calypso, dude.
Maybe we did it wrong. It's fine, it's been good for a year.
Is this even tight? Okay, so there we have it. That was a struggle. I forgot how to do this completely. But you can see, you twist it right off there and then you run it through a sprocket that's 110 degrees away from it, or right about there, but in the direction that is against the way it loosens. So if it loosens like this, you want to run it that way. So that way, if it started to spin, oh, you know what? We ran it the wrong way. Because if it started to spin like this is the right way to allow it to spin. And then this will end up all the way over here, and then it's loose. All right, so I fixed my mistake that I caught myself mid-sentence there. That was a bit embarrassing. So I had it wrapped under into here, which if you think about it, if this spins off, it would have been spinning in the same direction that the wire was at. So then there would have been a lot of play. So I redid it and spun it up this way. So now if it tries to spin that way, this will hold it right off the get-go. So I'm not too fond on using safety wire that's been spun multiple times like that. That probably definitely decreased the strength of this. But I use red Loctite, I torqued it. I don't think this is going anywhere on a stock NA motor. So I'm gonna try not to let myself tweak out about this. That's more than needs to be done anyway, or more than, you know, whatever. So I think it'll be all right. I'm not even gonna sit here and make you guys watch how brutal it is cleaning off this old gasket. It's like rusty and old gasket material. I gotta clean this up so I actually have a good mounting surface. This is brutal with a razor blade. I don't have any Scotch-Brite on hand, and I don't really want to use a wire wheel. I feel like that's too harsh. So I'm not even gonna make you guys watch a time lapse of this. It's brutal. I will see you guys back when I'm ready to actually mate this on the block. Just know I'm gonna be miserable for the next probably 30 minutes or so. Finally finished cleaning all the surfaces of the block and the pan. So now I am ready to RTV. They say you only got to do where it meets the covers, but I'm doing the whole thing because there is some like rust raised spots on both of them from sitting. So I'm gonna RTV everything. I'm not gonna make you guys watch that. I made you guys watch me do that with the valve cover. So hopefully I have enough here. Gonna go ahead and RTV everything, and then we're gonna pop this pan on, and I should probably pull this out of the engine. I almost forgot these were in here. I'm getting so scatterbrained. I've been in here too long. Alright, and the oil pan is back, secured, bolted everything down, gonna let it cure upside down. So that's pretty much it for everything on the motor. We've resealed everything we need to reseal. swapped in the sensors we need to swap in, replace what we need to replace. Most of the front end accessories I'm leaving off because it says that you have to have this stuff off to install, and I'll just leave the water pump and the power steering off, or not the water pump, the alternator. Those aren't hard to install in the car, at least I'm hoping they aren't. At least with the radiator out, they shouldn't be. So I'm just gonna leave those off rather than having to take them off when I'm in the middle of putting the engine on. But all I gotta do then tomorrow is when I get ready to put the trans on, the rear main, the issue, not really an issue, but I did the pan, right, and sealed the pan with a bunch of RTV, and the rear main housing actually is part of that seal for the pan. So I loosened these up so that they're not, you know, forcing down this RTV, because tomorrow I'm gonna have to frickin' re-RTV it anyway. And, you know, that's kind of sloppy, and I'm hoping that that doesn't lead to a oil pan leak. I'm actually really hoping it doesn't. I wish I had done that first, but when the motor's on the stand, there's not really any options. So it's easier to just put the motor on the ground when I'm gonna put the trans on it. So, not ideal, but most people get away with just re-RTVing that and being all right. So I'm not too worried. But I think that's it for the engine refresh. I hope you guys enjoyed. I've been out here way too long. I hope I didn't miss anything major. Yeah, so we dwindled down a lot of our parts. A lot of weird stuff here didn't need, but we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. The parts are getting used up, which is a good feeling. So tomorrow we're gonna pull the probably pull the wagon out, get the engine hoist in here, get the M20 in here, get the M20 off the hoist, get the M50 on the ground, do the rear main, put in the pilot bearing, and then redo the trans seals and get the trans ready to mate to the M50, and then we'll be ready to drop it in the E30. I think I got everything done in this engine bay. I might pull it out and power wash it to get my residual degreaser off, but other than that, the engine bay is ready to take the M50. So I'm stoked. This build's really starting to kind of beat on me. I'm pretty freaking tired. I've been out here a lot of hours, a lot of days straight. So I'm just trying to wrap things up, but also take my time. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to keep up with this build, like, comment, subscribe. It means the world to me. I will see you guys in the next video.